Special guest with me today, Roz Manley. She will be shedding light on October, which represents Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, Miss Manley, thank you for joining me this evening. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers and just give us a little bit of background information on you.
Hello, everyone. Like she said, my name is Roz Manley. I am a wife, a mother of four. I am a survivor and advocate of domestic violence. I currently serve as the vice president for CAP, which is Center of Abused Persons, and other organizations I'm affiliated with, just trying to give back and make sure that I do my part in spreading awareness about domestic violence. And I also talk a lot about life after domestic violence also. Thank you so much, Candace J, for having me today.
You're welcome. So let's go into first, if it's not too personal or too evasive, how you first recognize that you were in a domestic abusive relationship. What were the signs that women and men, because we know that it doesn't just occur to women,
Right.
should look for?
Okay. One, feel free to ask me anything you would like to ask me. I feel like we need to be very transparent about domestic violence and what is happening into our community. So even if I get emotional, just know that I'm okay with speaking my truth. I have wore my ugly mask for a long time, hiding who I was and what I was going through. As far as knowing, as far as me being a victim of domestic violence, at the time I did not know what it was called. I did not understand it. I was young. I was in high school, actually. So I didn't know what it was called or anything. But if you want to talk about looking for signs, one, I want to explain to people that domestic violence is not just physical. Okay, that is for me, that is one of the things that I really try hard to educate about, because most of the time when you hear domestic violence, someone is like, oh, but he didn't hit me or she didn't hit me. It can be emotional, verbal, financial, spiritual, different. Is so many technology. I mean, it's so many levels to domestic violence. So you look for those controlling behaviors, those pulling you away or isolating you from your friends or your family, isolating you from who you were before that relationship and who you have become in that relationship, losing yourself, telling you what you can and you cannot do, controlling things, asking for your passwords, especially with social media being a big thing, wanting to know every move, everywhere about things like that are some of the things that you definitely can look for.
So you speak to young girls since
Yeah.
you started to help them see some of the.
Yeah, so not only do I speak to young girls, I speak to young boys, because here's the thing, we cannot raise our girls, right? Our young girls to know what domestic violence is and not educate our boys also. We have to educate them. I've raised my daughter up to know what it is, and then there's no men in the world for her because nobody educated them on what domestic violence is. We have to educate both. Domestic violence does not just happen to girls, it happens to boys and girls. I have been affiliated with the Family Crisis Center, which is in PG County. One of my good friends and partners, McYon, she got me connected with them, and so I was certified to teach have seminars and lessons on healthy relationships. So yes, I do educate and teach girls and boys, because we have classes with girls and boys about domestic violence and in healthy relationships as a general, to know what that is. Because honestly, you wouldn't believe, like, for people who think, oh, that doesn't happen, my kid is too young, that's not happening. I have had 12-year-old girls come to me to talk about how their boyfriend smacked them. I have had fourth graders come to me about how they want to commit suicide because of the things that they are seeing in their household when it relates to domestic violence. I had four children. My boys are 21, 18, 14, and then an 8-year-old daughter. Each one of them at early age knew what domestic violence is, knew what the name from. I have very, very great conversations with them. I don't do the play fighting, their relation, none of that. So if you do not educate your children, the world will at a very young age. And if you don't deal with them, the world will deal with them. I give the example, my daughter is 8. kindergarten. She had a little boy kept hitting her on the bus, pushing her, all kind of little things. I was floored when I went to the mother. Okay, you knock on your neighbor's door, you talk to them about it. I was floored when the mother said to me, okay, oh, it's your fault that your daughter is so pretty. I said, excuse me? She was like, oh yeah, because he's probably just hitting her because he likes her. First of all, we have been taught that, okay? Oh, they like each other. That's when he play. No, then he can carry her book bag. He can walk her off the bus. He cannot put his hands on her. Let's not teach our boys that when you like a little girl, that you hit her, that you trip her up. Here in 2020, we're still teaching those behaviors. Those learned behaviors are happening.
Mm-hmm. So with your personal experience, can you go into that?
As far as things that have happened, so I witnessed domestic violence. And for me, we talk about generational curses, and we talking about things when you see. Again, I did not know the name for it because it was normal. You know what I'm saying? It was normal to see a husband and wife, man and woman fighting. Honestly, I just thought that was second nature. I just thought that's what love was. And then a person loved you, they wanted to know where you were every second, or they told you who you can hang around. I'm thinking that's cute, things like that. It wasn't until I become educated. For me, I have been abused physically, mentally, emotionally. I am 39 now. I just started speaking out maybe 7 years ago about it. I have been punched in the face. I have been left in the middle of the streets. I have been verbally abused so much that I started believing those things. I believe that nobody wanted me. I believe, that I was ugly. I believe that I didn't really have no friends in the world. I believe that I was alone. My physical scars have healed, but I still remember. I still have triggers. I still have certain things that I cannot watch on TV, and all of these things you have to really realize who you are and what you've been through to be able to deal with those things. And I was young. I was the girl in high school. I was pretty, popular. I went to a small school. I was popular. I did sports. I did all of these things, but no one knew me. No one knew what was going on. I smiled all the time, always smiling, playing around, but nobody understood what I was going through or even knew what I was going through. I hid it well. And my greatest gift was that I was able to hide my pain.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. A lot of people try to hide their pain, disguise it with a smile or with whatever to just get through.
And it's sometimes the person that you least expect. Sometimes the person with the biggest smile, with the biggest heart, with always giving, is the one who needs you the most, is the one who is really going through these things. Even when I began speaking out, now remind you, my abuse happened when I was in, high school, and some years after high school until I finally left. And when I started speaking out, people were floored, like, you? I couldn't believe that you did that. I'm like, what does someone who's been abused look like?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? It doesn't have any nationality. It doesn't have people who make more money than the other. It does not discriminate on anything. So when people will say to me, like, you didn't look like somebody who was being abused, I'm like, well, tell me what that looks like. Mm-hmm. So that I can understand, because it doesn't pick and choose. From celebrities to rich people to poor people to middle class to whatever you want to classify people, it is happening. You see the statistics, you see the reports. I know for a fact that those numbers are not true because some people do not report it.
Right.
They don't report it. So I never get hung up on numbers because I know those numbers are false. I know that there is more than what the numbers say. So it says 1 in 7. Reported or in it, and then you see 1 in 4, you see 1 in 3. Everyone knows someone or have had some kind of experience when it comes to domestic violence and sexual assault. And we were taught not to tell those things, especially in the African American community. What goes on in this house stays in this house. That is embedded into our heads from the time that we are born. So when we grow up to be broken men or women because we were taught not to tell things. We were taught that therapists and counseling was make us look weak. Those are the things that we were taught, so we learned those things. And then it's not until we grown that we try to unlearn those things. And I'm sorry that I'm kind of like going on, but I get really, really passionate about the things that we are teaching our youth that they are seeing. We need to get away from that. If whatever goes on in this household is hurting you, then you tell somebody. And if they don't listen, then you tell somebody else. And you keep telling until somebody hears you, because somebody can help you.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's okay. Now, earlier you talked about spiritual, that another form of control can be spiritual. Can you touch on that a bit?
You know, when we talk about religion, this is just me personally view religion. Candace J, you walk outside and think it's cold outside. I walk outside the same weather you feel, and I feel like I'm hot. We both walked into the same thing and interpreted two different ways. So people will twist and turn things for the way they believe it to be. They will look at biblical terms and turn it in a way that like, for instance, wives be submissive, right?
Right.
They don't just say be submissive. It's like a whole thing, but they just take that one thing, wives be submissive. And so submissive means that you control me. So submissive means that if you want to beat on me and have other women, it does not say, the sentence does not stop there, but we will take that piece. And that's when I talk about, when we talk about spiritual controlling, because man or woman, because again, men can be abused too, will take what they believe and how they interpret things to control what it is that they do and say to you. So when we talk about spiritual or just being unequally yoked, your beliefs and their beliefs do not match. They do not match. So those are the things that happen. Financial, same thing. Controlling your money, what you can spend, or you work every day and you only get this much, or you a stay-at-home wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, and you get allowance. And you know, those kind of things. Those things happen still here today in 2020. We may not want to talk about it. We may not want to acknowledge it, but it happens in your next door, your neighbors, in your backyard. It's happening daily. Right now, while we're on this call right now, it's happening.
Right. So I know they say, the statistics say that the greatest time period for more violence to occur is when a woman or a man leaves. That's when they're at the most vulnerable. Is that true, that statistic?
I mean, I told you in the beginning, I don't get into statistics because I don't get into, but here's the thing. You're vulnerable either way. If we've been truthful about it, you stand in it and you vulnerable, you leave and you vulnerable. I did a town hall meeting last week and someone asked a question about, does a protective order protect you? Nothing is 100% guaranteed.
Right.
I've had many protective orders. Did they protect me? No. Do I regret? Some of the time I got abused, I had orders. Do I regret getting them? No. I don't regret fighting for my life. Whatever that may be, whatever they had led it to be, I don't regret fighting for my life. So if you leave, is it possible that the abuse or the abuser can chase you, look for you, make you worse and things? Yes, it's possible. All things possible. It is. Is it also possible that you can stay in it and the same things can happen? Yes, they're both possible. But I'm here to tell you that it is your life and you have the God-given right, whatever it is that you believe, to live here on this earth free of harm, free of abuse, and there can be life after domestic violence. I said on the beginning of this, I am married now with 4 children. I'm married because I had children before I met my husband, so we are a blended family. And I used to wear that scarlet letter. Nobody is going to want me. I'm a single mother. I've been abused. I have so much baggage. I didn't want to talk about it. I still have nightmares. I can't watch certain stuff on it. Get that out of your head. Don't believe, because if somebody took me and my children in with all my flaws, trust and believe me, we don't have enough time on this call to say the things that I have been through, the things that I have witnessed, the things that have kept me in bondage with depression, PTSD, anxiety, all of those things that I fight. The hardest fight I ever had to fight in my life was the fight for my life. For me to look in the mirror and say, I love me and I am worth more. I don't love anybody any less. I learned to love me more. And when I realized I love me more, I didn't take it anymore. I
Mhm.
had to fight, knowing that fighting could possibly in my life, but in the inside, I was dead already. I died a long time ago. So I fought and I fought and I fought until I'm here talking to young boys and talking to young girls about their life, about domestic violence, so they can understand in an early age, so that they know that they are worthy, so that they know they're not alone, so that they know that there's organizations out here and people out here that's shining a light on domestic violence every single day so that we can eradicate this. I'm sorry. Again, I get.
That's okay. That's okay. And I have a nonprofit for teen girls ages 11 to 18 called Refine
Mhm.
Diamonds Inc. And I think it's so important that self-esteem uh, is a big component that should be a part of a curriculum in the school
Amen.
system.
I agree.
Because it starts with how you view yourself. Because
Yep.
if I view myself as a diamond, as I hold myself in high regard, I'm not going to let anyone tarnish that.
You said that. You hit it on the head. But we don't. We teaching in school. We're teaching curriculum to pass the test. Okay. We're not teaching what we need out here in this world. We're not in front of a mirror learning how to look at ourselves for who we see and not allowing the world to tell us that we're ugly. Not
Mhm.
allowing the world to tell us that we're not going to be anything. My self-esteem was horrible. Do you hear me? I mean, horrible. I wrote a Facebook post about a month ago about hoop earrings, okay?
Mhm.
I remember putting on a pair of hoop earrings when I was younger, thinking I was the cutest little thing. And I remember somebody tell me how ugly I was with my hoop earrings on. Scarred me. I am 39 years old. I finally started wearing hoop earrings about a month ago. And I literally put them on, looked in the mirror, and had to say a few choice words to
Yeah.
myself. Believe you or not, if I showed you my jewelry box right now, I have about 60 pair of hoop earrings that I purposely wear because I said the devil's a lie and I'm taking
Yep.
my life back. I'm taking my self-esteem back. I don't care what you think I look like. I ain't for everybody. But for me, I am beautiful and I'm going to walk in it. But we're not teaching our girls that.
Right.
We're telling them, oh, stop tattletelling. Oh, he didn't mean it. Oh, she just saying that. Oh, no, we need to equip them with how to deal with this stuff. That's what happened. They're not dealing with it, so they're keeping it all bottled in to themselves. And this is what happens.
Mhm.
This is what happened. You look at the suicide rate. You look at the kids who are committing suicide. Kids.
Mhm.
Okay, we're talking baby. You want to wait till we grown men and women to start teaching us about self-esteem?
Mhm.
You know how much work you have to do now?
Right.
It took years for us to get this way. And then you're gonna wait until we're grown to want to treat. No, we started it. My daughter is 8, okay? She looks in the mirror every single day and say, I'm smart and I'm beautiful. Every single day since she was able to talk. My husband implanted in her, I implanted in her, and her 3 brothers will tell her every single day. I don't care if her hair is messy. I don't care if it's all over her head. I don't even care if she walk out the door and her clothes don't match. She gonna know that she beautiful and she's smart, and then nobody's gonna take her away from that. We need to be teaching that in the school to
Right.
our young boys and our young girls.
Right. Because we're good at teaching them the roles of this is what a man should do. A man should bring in the income. He should be the head of the household. This is a man shouldn't have emotions. This is what the woman should do. She should just be pregnant, stay at home,
Generational
not have a
curses.
career. But we don't teach them about it's okay to pursue a career. It's okay to be a driven woman, and it's okay to have high standards.
Generational
Somebody to come up
curses.
and match that. And
Oh,
and the sad thing is there are still churches that will teach that.
who you telling? Yes, they are. Generational curses, oh, wise tale, all of that stuff you want
Mhm.
to believe. You tell them what you should do. We want to raise them to be submissive in
Mhm.
that form. You don't want to raise them till you work hard. You can accomplish. You can be anything you want to be. I know this is not about my daughter, and I keep bringing her in because I wanted to everyone understand how important. My daughter is 8 years old. She is a published author at 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay, because somebody told her that they could not play with her because they was allergic to brown skin people. She is 8. This is what somebody told her in the school system. So I had to show the world what a little brown skin person can do. Okay, all of this, don't let boys cry and they got to be tough. No. My kids are very competitive. My boys are very competitive. They play sports. They are very good in their sport. But if you lose, you better cry. You
Right.
better show your emotions. You better not hold them in. You will not be punished because you cry. You will not be told to toughen up. Who told you that crying made you weak?
Right.
We need to get away from that, because when they hold those emotions in, when they do not let them out, they ball them up inside, and then they become angry. And you want to know why we have angry Black men? Because
Right.
the world has put so much on our Black men that the only thing they do know how to be is angry, because you
Right.
didn't let them cry. You didn't let them know what it feels like to be lifted up, because you made them think that they was weak. Not in this household. And it shouldn't be in anybody else. We have to take back our youth. They are our future. And if the way we going now, then I fear for us. I fear for each one of us. If we're going to keep on not learning from our ancestors, not learning from the generational curses, keep on, the school buildings may be closed, but teaching ain't never stop. They're watching, they're learning, they're listening. They're being taught when you're not even looking. They see what is going on. We got to get away from that. We have to move away from that stuff.
This is good.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Don't apologize.
I told you I'm good under pressure. I can't, because this is my truth. This is what I see. I speak to girls and boys. I left a career making good money, okay? Good money to do this. I came home to my husband and said, this is not my calling. Yes, my paycheck is lovely, but this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be speaking my truth. I'm supposed to be educating somebody's little girl, somebody's little boy. I'm supposed to be helping bring somebody out of what they in. Was it a huge pay cut? Absolutely. But if I save one life, then it meant more to me than any money. And when I left with my head held high. Like, here I left in 2016, my mortgage still paid, my kids still eat, and I'm free. I'm free to go out here and talk to somebody's daughter, somebody's son, to educate, to host workshops where we get all these kids together. We hosted a workshop last year before last, had 62 boys and girls in it. You would not believe the conversation that was had in there. And I'm like, you think that your kids are not going through things? We all want to think that. We all want to think that. It's not true. They're going through something. We need to teach kids how to be a friend, what a friend really is. We need to talk about secrets and what's really a secret, what really is hurting you versus you want to be loyal. What does loyal look like? What does loyal look like? Because if you know that your friend is being abused and you don't tell it, and then something happens to them and you want to tell it now, how are you helping? How are you helping your friend? Your friend is not no longer here anymore. Nothing you say can help them at this point. So we need to teach them how to be friends. We need to teach what loyalty really is. When I talk about healthy relationships, I don't just mean boyfriend and girlfriend. And if you think these young kids are not in boyfriend and girlfriend relationships at a young age, trust me, they in boyfriend and girlfriend at a young age. But we need to teach relationships as a whole.
Right. So any other pointers you want to make or comments?
I don't know. I want us to be transparent. I want us to heal healthy. I want us to not think that going to counseling or therapists or anything makes you weak. I want us to allow our little boys to cry. I want us to know that there are many, many organizations out here that are here to help you. I want people to know that we're in this together. It truly takes a village, a village. I want you to know that the things that hurt you in your past, if you don't deal with them, they will deal with you. You have to deal with them. You have to confront them. I want you to know that your life is worth fighting for. It is worth fighting for. I want you to tell it. If someone is hurting you, I want you to tell it. If you need resources, if you need information, I want you to reach out. whether it's Google, whether it's pick up a phone, whether it's tell a friend. Do what you need to do so that you can live. There's a national number for domestic violence, the 1-800-799-SAFE number. That's 1-800-799-7233 that you can call 24/7. I said that I'm the vice president of CAP, which is Center of Abused Person here in Waldorf, Maryland. 301-645-3336, 24-hour crisis hotline. There are organizations, I did not know this when I was young. I did not know that somebody looked like me. Somebody was going through what I was going through. I did not know if I stayed in that relationship that my kids can grow up to be the same thing. It wasn't until I was sitting in front of a judge because I became angry. And yes, you become angry. When you dealing with when you praying for death every single day, you become angry before you even realize that you became angry. So when I became angry, right, when I sent a few texts, I got arrested for telephone harassment. I don't know if your viewers know, but telephone harassment is a felony. Now I'm sitting in front of a judge explaining why I sent an angry text, okay? They ordered me to go to anger management, changed my life. Because in anger management, I realized that I was angry. Now the counselor in anger management ended up sending me to victims, wrote the judge and sent me to victims, changed my life. The counselor says to me, if you do not leave, your children, which were boys, your boys will end up just like that. Oh no, not on my watch. And that's what we need to realize. If we do not change the behaviors, if we do not change what our children are seeing, they're going to grow up and do the same exact thing. And we need to change that.
Definitely. So thank you so much for enlightening the viewers this evening. I thank you for your time. I thank you that you are truly a testimony, a living, breathing testimony. And you had to go through what you went through so that you can help give life to someone else, to help pull somebody else out. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate your time, and just keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Ms. Candace J. Thank you to all your viewers. Thank you so much for having me.